Hi, everybody. It's Pat Love from eXp Realty. I'm here today with Cara Halber, the creativity coach. Hi, Cara.
Hi, Pat.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'd like to thank you very much for taking time out of your day to share a bit about your business.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, so you told me a little bit, but tell me the whole story. How did you become the creativity coach?
So, I actually started my career in nutrition and women's health, and this is like 10 plus years ago. And I really quickly began to see in women 12 years ago that food was not the thing that was holding them back from their goals. Even though that's the gateway or the doorway to it, it wasn't the actual tangible thing that was holding them back. So through coaching in that avenue for many years, I really quickly pivoted to more of a life coaching style and just understanding that people's desire to change, when someone really desires to change and they're willing to go down a rabbit hole about themselves and really kind of tuck in and see what's holding them back, the results can be extraordinary. From the effort, of course the effort is there, but it's really about tweaking, making a small tweak, and then a reality shifts in the most beautiful way. So over time, I just started evolving as a person as well, because growth is my probably my biggest value. So I started to learn more and got introduced to the modality of human design, which is like a personality test mixed with astrology. And it gave me so much validation, and it just made so much more sense than any of the other things that I had identified with in my life. Or I always identified as being very introverted, and then human design explained that better. And it just really gave me this permission and freedom to tap into who I am. And so I started studying that on my own for a couple of years, and then I started studying and becoming more serious about sharing my work through the lens of human design, because I really believe it's this beautiful roadmap to someone that allows me to support them so much more. So I work in the realm of creativity, and I believe that creativity is really your soul's expression. It's something that you don't need to do anything for it to come out, but sometimes when you're trying to stuff it down, or when you're not letting it flow, that's where frustration and a lack of fulfillment and feeling really stuck in your life, that's where that comes from. So it's really tapping into that and helping you unlock that creative flow. And it doesn't need to be painting. I never considered myself a creative person, so it's kind of funny now that here I am as the creativity coach. But I understand now my creativity comes in a different form. It's not paint on canvas, but it's working with people, or it's writing, or it's just how I live from myself, essentially, and the energy that I carry. And now and then now here we are 12 years later from the beginning of that.
Okay, so you're able to teach people a better way.
Yes, in a way that doesn't need to be like, yes, it takes effort, of course, to make a change in your life, but when you're making aligned changes, the results come easier, they come faster, they come in better ways. And then it just, it's like when you're trying to force something, that if you're trying to force a square peg into a round hole, maybe over time you can shave down that square so it will kind of fit, but it requires a lot of effort instead of just picking up the thing and putting the square in the square hole.
And it doesn't stay either if
Yeah,
you're trying,
exactly.
if you try to do something that's not genuine about yourself.
Totally. And sometimes it's easy to see that in other people, but it's hard to see it in yourself. So that's where I come in. I get to be like your guide to your inner world. So I get to hold your hand and then dive into that, abyss with you, whether that be really exciting or really scary.
Okay, so I told you we were going to talk a bit about the pandemic, and from what you've told me so far, it sounds like your business is perfectly timed for a pandemic. That maybe people are looking to make changes and seeing things from being stuck, shall we say, being stuck, having not
Mhm.
much to do. So a lot of
Yeah.
self-reflection and maybe seeing things they don't want to see, or maybe trying to make changes. I know I was trying to do at the beginning a lot of, I'm a bit of a taskmaster. I have to accomplish stuff, or I feel bad.
Absolutely.
And so the beginning of the pandemic, it was check, check,
Yeah.
check. And then after time went on, I started to understand the people who were on Facebook going, I had this list of stuff I never had time to do. And apparently it wasn't because I didn't
That
have
wasn't
time
the
to do
problem. Yeah.
it. And so we're all there. So why don't you share with me what the pandemic did for your business or didn't do for your business, and how what you learned maybe can help other business owners?
Yeah, I mean, certain avenues that I was still hanging on with, like health coaching, that I knew I didn't want to be doing anymore firmly. Like, it was just a one day, they didn't exist anymore. So it really gave me permission to, like, I needed that little bit of a kick in the butt to fully step into what I was doing and stop having a backup plan, I guess. And not even a backup plan, but just fully go off the cliff. So I really appreciated that, just that space. And it gave me some really beautiful space with my family that, I hope in a way will never happen again in our lifetime. But it really just gave me space to reflect as well. And it was having these conversations with people of, when you take away your coping mechanisms and you take away connections, sometimes in a positive and sometimes in a really negative way, you're really stuck with yourself. And that can be a lot. So I was really grateful that, I already worked from home. I already had done so much work on myself. And of course, it's a continual evolution, but I feel like now I have the tools to get through the things that came up when the world changed. So I feel really grateful for my own work and my own tools that I have in my pockets that I can use. And really, for my business, it did allow me to focus on what I wanted to do with a new sense of permission that I didn't have before. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, ultimately, like, being dynamic and shifting, like, for I don't know, a piece of advice, I guess, but being dynamic and being willing to look at what's working and what's not. So much of how our world changed, I think, gave us a beautiful perspective on where were we being busy when we didn't need to. And that alone is such a big thing, where, I'm hearing from so many entrepreneurs where it's like, even just having the ability to meet virtually is saving them time. Like naturopathic friends and colleagues, their practice will forever have a virtual option now, whereas that wasn't seen as an option before. So I think we saw so much adaptability and resilience happen, and that's the area that I was really focusing on. And I think that's a beautiful gift in that, to be able to, even if you got knocked down, even if you had, your business stopped, or even if things were not good, there's still a chance to reevaluate. And I love that kind of growth. But that's just that, like, you don't need to love that kind of growth where I'm like, oh, I'm in it, what can I learn, or where can I go from here? Like, I really enjoy that. You don't have to, but that's why I do what I do, is because I love that exploration and that growth and those questions. So it's just having being a compassionate observer with yourself, and just looking at it with a curious eye and seeing, what do I really love? What am I really drawn to? And one of the questions that I really love that I saw recently was, what really lit you up? Did you enjoy at the beginning of the pandemic that you wouldn't normally have time for, that just fed your soul, that you've now stopped doing because things are moving forward in whatever way they are? And I thought that was just such a good question.
It is a really good question. Good, good. Okay, so this series is a bit about how the community can help all the businesses. So I ask all the businesses, is there a way we can help you in your business at this time of year, or even just in general?
Yeah, I mean, it's such an honor and a privilege for me to walk people through their human design and to support them to learn about themselves. So a really mutually beneficial thing would be to book a human design session. Most of my sessions I do with people who have never heard of human design, so that doesn't need to be a barrier. And it's something where it really gives you a roadmap to create the building blocks, to understand the habits, and to understand how to best make decisions to build the life that you desire. And it's just it's fun, and it's very just nourishing and validating and wonderful to learn things about yourself that really you already knew. I'm not telling you anything that's rocket science, but it's a confirmation of, why you've always done things the way that you have, or why patterns come up in your life over and over again. So that would be a beautiful gift to me, and to you would be just the gift of that exploration and that learning in a human design reading.
Hmm. some, maybe a New Year's resolution to get some human design.
Totally, totally. Or better yet, get a human design reading so that you can make your New Year's resolutions in a
That's
way
even
that
better.
will be successful.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And so how long does it take when someone signs up to work with you? How long does it take to get redesigned?
That's a good, well, depends on who you ask. There are things you can immediately, obviously, play with. And the real integration and the mastery of your design, you know, that takes time. But it's not something that you get to have fun in the process. It's not like you need to, it's like anything. You don't have to have it mastered in order to benefit from it. And I mean, I find most people, it's just, you gain this inner confidence when you're like, yes, this is what I thought this is what's worked well for me. And now that's confirmed. So it's even with how you make decisions, it's being able to make decisions with more confidence, because we all make a million decisions a day. So it even helps you with like what to eat or to drive or to walk or
Oh,
any of those little annoying I say annoying, any of the things that adds to your decision fatigue in your day. But
okay.
really, yeah, but really how to support yourself better and really nourish yourself and nurture yourself in a really beautiful way.
It sounds wonderful. I
It
can't wait.
is.
Can't
Yeah.
wait to be redesigned. Shouldn't say redesigned, just rediscovered. Rediscovered.
Exactly. No, that's a beautiful way of saying it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. That gives us a little bit of insight into your business. And I really enjoyed hearing about it because, like you said, I've never heard about it before.
Yeah,
So it's always good to learn something new.
exactly. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you're welcome. I look forward to seeing you in person one day.
Yes, soon, I hope.
Yes, we'll cross our fingers. Thank you very much.